Hey, welcome inside the FOX Weather ROWI Report. We are in NFL Week 8. I'm FOX Weather Meteorologist Steve Bender, and we are going to dive into what we are looking at weather-wise for the week ahead. Now, when we're watching this, we have some big stories stateside. Right now, central rain is going to be a factor. Will it time out to align with their first game, Kansas City Chiefs? We're going to talk more about that as they go take out the Commanders or hosting them. Another game of concern would be what's going to happen in areas in Mile High City. It's not really a concern necessarily weather-wise for activity, but just the dynamics of Mile High City, what ultimately could unfold. Will there be records broken? Let's get into what we're seeing on this week's Risk of Weather Impact. Thank you for being with us. Let's talk more about that central rain component of this, because this is an ongoing story. What this is actually a cutoff low emerging from the west, and what it's going to do is meander, move into the southern plains. If you're able to, I encourage you to jump over and watch on the stream here if you're able to look at this. Kansas City, notice the timing of this event. As of right now, as we record this on a Tuesday, you're looking at this timing out on a Friday, Saturday, clearing out just in time for Sunday. But if this slows down, because this is a cutoff low, which means it can meander, it can stall, it can slow down, that could actually lead to a factor, an upgrade in our risk of weather impact as the Chiefs host the Commanders. Leading up to this, look at the significant rain event. You have for the Red River region, that's Oklahoma to Texas, widespread 3 to 5 inches of rain embedded in that, easily a half foot of rain. Notice Kansas City, Arrowhead Stadium, they are on the northern side of this, and they're at 1 to 2 inches. So it does not look like there'll be a flooding threat that would even persist into this forecast as well. So let's jump into the game right now. We have the Washington Commanders. They're going to be heading out to the Kansas City Chiefs. This is going to be, of course, in northern Missouri, Arrowhead Stadium, 8:15 local time. And this is a Monday night game. So even if there is a slight delay and we're looking at Sunday with there's some of that potential of lingering showers, this should clear out just in time. Let's talk more. Now let's dive into this. Jared, we're looking at this forecast. Yes, it's a low risk of weather impact, but precipitation, notice how uncomfortably high that component of the ROWI still remains.
Yeah, that's the key factor with this, is that these cutoff lows can be really difficult to forecast about a week out. So when you see that in the pattern, that's something that even though our ROWI model is spitting out a low right now, that is something we very well know that forecast is unstable and can change quickly.
Yeah, when we watch this, it does look like it's for 1 hour of the game. Remember, with this, the ROWI picks up on the worst conditions for 1 hour of the game. And so we're looking at potentially at 9 p.m. But to your point, we're almost a week out from this event. So there's a lot of question marks on what could happen. I think ultimately, too, this is the type of rain that you could play through. I don't think this is going to be the type of rain that is torrential or the tropical variety. So ultimately, if I'm looking at my fantasy lineup and I'm trying to make some early decisions and I got, either quarterback in this, both of them have been studs. I don't think I'm wavering on either one of these.
I think if anything, Washington, it's really the injuries you have to worry about more than the weather in this. Kansas City, their offense has been humming in terms of like you said, Steve, here. I would not worry about this, especially since this is your Monday night matchup. You have some time to wait. Like, you can make these decisions on Sunday morning, and we'll have the Friday update pod for you, giving you the latest forecast on this game here.
Yeah, this is definitely one of those games that we do the bonus pod for. By the way, we do podcasts a lot throughout the week, so stay locked in. We'll have that at the end of the episode. Another game, and you're really excited about this, is what's going to be happening in Mile High Stadium. Of course, these are your Cowboys coming into town, and so Denver, Colorado, 4:25 Eastern time. So, this is going to be an afternoon game, and when we look at this lineup here, you got two teams that obviously want to create some momentum and low risk of weather impact. This is a spot in the Rockies or just outside the Rockies, in the Front Range, where they're going to have some active storms. We're going to see that in the Pac Northwest, but that polar jet is keeping everything to the northern tier and really not allowing the areas further south like the Rockies and Colorado to capitalize on any of that action and moisture out west, Jared.
Yeah, and really for this game, what we are looking at is the hype behind Brandon Aubrey, the most amount of 60-plus yard field goals in NFL history. He hit another one last week. Mm-hmm. Lots of hype and anticipation going into this year is, can he set the new NFL field goal record in Denver? And looking at the wind is the largest factor in this game, but it's still not overly difficult. So this is something that He should be like, if the Cowboys give him the chance, the weather should play ball. They should allow one angle may be a little bit better than the other, but weather should play ball. If he gets a crack at it, he'll have a real shot.
Yeah, and I mean, this is the perfect place, right? We talk about Mile High Stadium. That high altitude allows the ball to travel further. Also, in this type of setup, you would want dry air coming in, so it's good that it's not wet, that humidity. I mean, these kickers are just so impressive nowadays, but if you're trying to set a record, you want everything on your side. And as you had said, Jared, with the wind coming out of one direction at 10 miles an hour, maybe gusts a little higher, if that's at your back, you feel a whole lot more confident with that. And you had said 60-plus yard field goals. Who knows? If this sets up, he could even go beyond that.
I mean, really, it's like there was Cam Little for Jacksonville hit that 70-yarder in the preseason. And this is like looking like a crosswind here. So you'd have to adjust the aim a little bit, but it'll also be blocked a little bit better than if it was like running. Let's say this was like a north to south wind. Then you would see a little bit more of an issue on one side of the stadium. He would have to only have really 2 quarters of that opportunity. Yeah. This one, he's going to have all 4 opportunities to do this. And at least in terms of note here, like even though like humid air is a little less dense than dry air, just that factor of just like avoiding rain, avoiding any like having any slipping with the ball or with like his plant foot as he goes down, that is well worth it because the altitude difference just that matters way more for how far this ball can fly.
It changes everything. I don't know if you golf all the time, but I know you golf here in Jersey and stuff where we're headquarters at. Like I played out west and it's ridiculous. Like I already have a massive, like a big drive. That's what I'm kind of built off of. And I would be crushing the ball 350, 370 out west. And it was like, you get this in your head. You're like, wow, I'm ready for the pro tour. Then you come back to reality and I play in golf in Florida where it's humid and those drives 290, 300.
Yeah, you're not getting any carry on the ground.
Yeah, you're not getting anything. So it goes the same with the kicking. But I want to bring this up because we talk about not only fantasy, we do talk about betting, and a shout out to Dr. Rowe and something that we emphasized last week with the Miami Dolphins and the Browns game. We had said, this is a game where maybe you want to look at the unders on a lot of these things just because of how messy it was going to get and how bad the weather. And a lot of that verified. And I know you had spoken out on X about that, and it's a great way to reach out to us. But I want to pick your brain because I think you're picking up on something that really, unless you're listening to the ROWI pod, not many people may be talking about, is this Aubrey being able to kick not only a record-setting field goal, but the betting props of a 60-plus yard field goal on either side. Is that something that you start feeling a little more confident about, maybe looking at or leaning towards?
Yeah, it's something you think about. Like the thing is game situation versus like, let's talk about that Dolphins-Browns game for a second and why I called that like the ROWI game of the year so far for bettors, a pro game where you had like a fairly reliable ROWI set. Because even then, like we were a little less bullish on the winds in the pod and the strongest winds ended up being in the morning and it ended up just mainly being a rainy slot fest where the wind was somewhat manageable. And even with that, if you were able to get on the pod early, by the way, you were able to get that points under and still hit. If you got on and you waited till Sunday morning, that total fell just beneath what it ended up being, and you missed out. So that's why you got to listen when you get the chance. Yeah. In that case, that was like a very reliable across the board thing where it didn't really matter what the game situation was. Like it didn't matter that the Dolphins needed to pass to catch up because they had so many turnovers early. The conditions were just so rough for it. And then their offense was like in such shambles that they weren't able to pick up those passing yards. They weren't able to get those completions. Like if you were under on the passing props, if you were under on completion props, and if you didn't parlay even if you did parlay receivers, you probably did okay. If you were able to go under on a lot of those, that's something you could go forward here. In this case, though, sorry.
No, I was going to say I did. Yeah. When you were talking about, did you parlay on the receivers?
I did.
I added that really off of our podcast. When we were talking about it more, I was looking at that. And then you were saying, hey, this is something to look at. I was like, you kidding me right now? Like, let's put it together. I put that parlay after the pot, like a minute afterwards, and it came through. And it was a great feeling.
It works. Like the issue, like it's a very low, high risk, high reward thing because one catch, like one little screen pass where somebody breaks tacos can completely ruin you, which is why when I go, I recommend you or if you're able to, like put a bunch of your, you spread your props out and try not to parlay them because even if you get like 5 out of 6 right, which a lot of people like get like 6 or 7 or 8 or something like that, you're in pretty good shape. Even if like oh man, I wish I could have had that $1,000 parlay. Or whatever.
Exactly, yeah. That it's better to take the wins, the more wins, right, consecutively, the 5 out of the 6, then lose everything off of that 6th bet.
And I do want to say for this here, because I forgot to we have to tie it back to this one here.
Yeah.
In this case, it's something that you want to think about with the, like, especially because, like, you know, like every, like, Sean Payton has got to be thinking the same thing. Sean Payton's a very competitive guy. He's a petty guy, and he knows the Cowboys are going to kind of want to go and do something like that. Jerry will probably, like, mention something in his he probably did already his Monday morning game day
Probably
preview.
did. Gave it away.
But it's two-game situation.
Yeah, it's all about game situation. So there's no guarantee that that's going to align, which makes it more difficult, and why it's almost interesting. It makes it a fun thing if you put a little bit of something on that, just so you're like, oh, cool, if this verifies I'm part of that historical moment or whatever it is, but don't bet the house on it, right? That's not the type of setup. Like, it's a completely different dynamic than what we saw last week, where you're saying this is going to be wide sweeping impacts. Regardless, it's going to be a slot fest. But last week was because of what I want to get into right now, Jared, as we take a look at some of these. Yeah, no, it's the same thing. It's a low that's moving over the Great Lakes. Let me do something. I'm going to try to bring this up full, and I'm going to see. So it doesn't really cut it off completely. So what I want you to see is that counterclockwise rotation with the big L, if you're able to watch this right now. If not, just imagine that we have winds that are setting up over every Great Lake. In those areas that are to the south and the east, so Buffalo out towards Cleveland, they are going to get lake-enhanced rain. And that's important because when we look at this, the lake-enhanced rain is something that is a big factor in the middle of the game, but also the wind is the most widespread impact that you can have. It impacts everybody on the field in some regards, but mainly for the throwing and the punting and kicking. And that's where you start to see really last week where it aligned both of those factors. Now, with everything being said, this is an active cycle. Notice the timestamp. This is through Thursday. Thursday's night's game is in a dome, so it's not going to be impacted. But by the weekend, we are anticipating improving weather conditions. So we have a full slate of games. We got 6 of them that are all going to be, out into the mid-Atlantic or the Northeast that maybe would have had some influence from this if it had set up at the right time frame. But Jared, as I bring you in, it looks like we're kind of getting in an improving weather pattern just in time as we're looking at those lows, because they're still parked in Canada. That's the thing. There's no dip in the jet stream that allows that come back in the mid-Atlantic and get some influence. It just stays riding to the north through Toronto, out towards Montreal, and basically into Nova Scotia. And with no southerly dip, then you're looking at games like the Carolinas, out towards areas like there's another one where we see even Baltimore and Philly, where there's not much of an influence because they're so far removed from the Great Lakes.
Yeah, like opposite to some of the, like, this past weekend where there was just like a weather all across the college football slate and impacting the NFL slate. This case is something where we're getting like a bit more of a break from that. Across, you don't have to worry about any of your fantasy players from a weather perspective in any of these games here. I mean, let's go rattling through. Buffalo at Carolina, totally good. Bears at Ravens, should be good. Jets at Bengals. That was one that's a little bit closer to the area, but that should be moved out of the way by then. Browns at Patriots should be looking fine. Giants at Eagles should be looking good. And then Packers at Steelers, Sunday Night Football, also looking pretty solid.
Yeah, that's a big thing too. You just mentioned that night portion. So it's not like a dependent on the day. With this pattern setting up, it's not even depending, I should say, on the time of day. All of Sunday is looking good as of right now. Reminder, this is a Tuesday podcast, so fairly confident and certain, because this would take a big change and adjustment, if at all, if you're going to see any adjustments. But here, right now, we do feel confident overall what we are going to see for the Sunday games. There are a couple, though, that we'll be watching closely, but this is just one episode. We do multiple episodes each week. Tuesday's NFL. Wednesday is college football. And then we do a bonus episode, and it's all driven by you at home. You can reach out to us on social media, whatever topics you want to talk about, we get into as well. But we also have to encourage you to come check us out on the stream, because here on Fox Weather, we're still in the hurricane season. And Jared, I know you've been watching this. You might actually get deployed. You might be having yourself a little tropical vacation here. Let everybody know kind of about the behind the scenes, what's going on with Melissa.
Yeah, right now we were. You pretty much have heard all the behind-the-scenes stuff right now. We're discussing we might be deploying a crew somewhere in the Caribbean for Melissa. We have a stall that's expected to occur somewhere near the island of Hispaniola. The immediate capture that the GFS and the Euro AI have been showing are appearing slightly less likely. The ensembles are more showing that stall gets back over the Caribbean. A lot of options on the table, long time to watch, and with the tropics, anything can change in a flash. So, if there's anything changes to bring impacts to the U.S., you'll hear it from us first.
Yeah, even if there's big impacts for Jamaica or Haiti and Dominican Republic, we're going to be watching that closely. As you had said, this is just the beginning phases of Melissa. There's a lot of questions ahead, so we encourage you to jump over to the Fox Weather stream. I do a show 6 to 9 each night. I'll be yelling at you. We have a lot of fun. We have some excitement, and then later on in the week, we also on Thursday have tailgates. So a good opportunity to see us, compete out on Fox Plaza, have some fun, talk about the ROWI, of course, get into some of the games, and have some great food. So fun episode, good episode to get in early in this week, and we'll have a bonus episode later on. So make sure you have fun this week, stay weather aware, and we'll see you on the next pod.